There's one gang that is more violent and ruthless than all the rest.
A few days back, we told you about the presidents of the biker clubs who had ugly downfalls because of their unsavory activities. But how would it feel if you knew that an entire motorcycle club wiped themselves out of existence because of that? Shocking, isn't it? Today, I'm going to tell you about the Breed Motorcycle Club, who happened to meet this exact same fate. The Breed Motorcycle Club was founded by Salvatore DeIulio in Asbury Park, New Jersey in 1965. The club was originally known as the New Breed, but the full title didn't fit properly on the colors. The Breed patched over the Riverside, New Jersey-based Aces and Eights Motorcycle Club and the Elizabeth, New Jersey-based Branded Motorcycle Club in 1983, in part due to the efforts of Jim Irish Power, who was known as Irish Prez. He was known for his efforts to expand the club with minimal violence and his desire to make the club more profitable and larger in members. Power's efforts took the Breed to a level of profit and members that made the MC become a large force not to be underestimated or taken lightly by its rival clubs. At its peak in the 1970s, the Breed was the most prominent outlaw motorcycle club in the state and also had chapters in New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia with between 3,000 to 4,000 members. The Breed Motorcycle Club was led by an executive board consisting of chapter presidents which determined club policy. The executive board was ultimately headed by a national president. Each club chapter consisted of a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and sergeant-at-arms. Membership of the club was restricted to white males who would first serve a prospecting period before being voted in and awarded their colors. Prospective members were required to carry out illegal activities such as car theft and armed robbery and turn over the proceeds of these crimes to the club. In addition to regional chapters, the Breed also operated a nomad chapter made up of members not bound by geographical location, which served as an elite element within the club. The club's insignia consisted of a Betsy Ross flag with the Breed banner above. This insignia would be sewn onto the back of a sleeveless denim cutoff jacket, which was forbidden from being washed. Various other patches, including a patch, would also be worn. The Breed are designated an outlaw motorcycle gang by the U.S. Department of Justice. The club engaged in organized criminal activities, including the production and distribution of methamphetamine, larceny, robbery, extortion, auto crime, weapons violations, intimidation, assault, rape, and murder, and also operated legitimate businesses such as tattoo parlors and transport companies, which could serve as fronts for illegal activities. The Breed was involved in conflicts with rival motorcycle gangs such as Hells Angels, Pagans, and Warlocks. Fred Chic Nichols, the Breed's South Jersey chapter president, was shot dead after being dragged from his home in Jackson Township by two men on August 30, 1968. Thomas G. Rusomano Jr. pleaded no contest to Nichols' murder on February 5, 1969, and testified that he and Patsy Truglia had gone to Nichols' home to retrieve a motorcycle in Nichols' possession that they had believed had been stolen from Truglia and that the gun he was holding to threaten Nichols had fired accidentally. On August 13, 1976, during a robbery by two gunmen of a check-cashing business in Kearney, one of the gunmen killed Newark police officer John Snow. A Hudson County grand jury indicted Alan Roller, Bruce Reen, Victor Forney, and Vincent James Londano for felony murder and armed robbery, along with other offenses. Roller was president of the Breed's Staten Island, New York chapter. Reen was also a Breed member, and Forney was a club associate, while Londano was a friend of Forney. The state believed that Roller and Forney planned the robbery, but that only Londano and Roller actually participated in the crime. Two accomplices and 3 eyewitnesses identified Londano as Snow's murderer, and he was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison for the crime in April 1977. Londano was acquitted of murder in a retrial in 1998 and died at the age of 63 on November 11, 2002. Breed members Kalani Lopa and Thomas Heilman were arraigned on 2 counts each of kidnapping after abducting club member John McGurk and Patricia McDevitt from McGurk's Bordentown home in an attempt to collect a $1,200 debt on August 17, 1977. John Belowski and James R. Axel Fleming, both identified as Breed members by authorities, and a third man, Pascal Verona, were arrested during a raid on an apartment in Asbury Park, which led to the seizure of handguns and almost $5,000 worth of cocaine on January 25, 1995. The 3 men were charged with drug and weapons offenses. Eugene Jean Bernardo, president of the Breed's Monmouth County chapter, was charged with conspiracy to distribute almost 500 grams of methamphetamine in a one-count federal indictment on January 6, 1998. He was convicted of the charge on May 26, 1999. Bernardo had acted as a middleman in a drug sale made by Carl Chianese to Drug Enforcement Administration (DEA) informant Kalani Lopa in January 1997. 2 Breed members stabbed 2 pagans in a tattoo studio in Trenton in September 1998. 10 members of the Breed, including National President Salvatore Old Man DeIulio, were indicted on charges of extortion and sexual assault on January 28, 2000. The club was allegedly running protection rackets on strip clubs, tattoo parlors, and other businesses in Long Branch. The sexual assault charges were brought after 4 women who danced at the clubs complained to the Howell Township Police. One woman claimed to have been chained to the floor for several days, forced to engage in oral sex with several men, and beaten severely. David Snyder, a strip club owner and former Breed member, was allegedly assaulted after attempting to reduce the number of sexual assaults on the dancers. On November 4, 2000, 5 Breed members were acquitted of extortion conspiracy. In June 2001, a Superior Court jury in Monmouth County acquitted DeIulio of aggravated assault in a case which he allegedly beat and sexually assaulted a nude dancer. However, a hung jury was declared on 6 other charges, including aggravated sexual assault and weapons possession. Breed members Sanford Gazelski, Scott Lear, and Frederick M. Guido de Capua were indicted in July 2003 and charged with robbery, aggravated assault, hindering apprehension, weapons possession, and retaliation against a witness. The trio allegedly attacked former Breed member Arnie Olson at a bar in West Long Branch on October 5, 2002, in retaliation for his testimony in a court case involving other club members. On May 11, 2005, Grzelski was convicted of aggravated assault, and Lear was found guilty of conspiracy to commit aggravated assault and retaliation, while De Capua was acquitted of all charges. One Breed member, Alfred Berkeski, was fatally shot, and another, Joseph Pascarea, was beaten and slashed during a confrontation with a group of around 10 Hells Angels members in Staten Island, New York on July 25, 1971. 3 Hells Angels, Anthony Morabito, John Scott, and Howard Risebroad, were charged with assault. 7 members of the Breed allegedly committed an assault at gunpoint on 2 young women in a house on Staten Island in December 1971. 2 members, Edward Very and Joseph Pascarea, were arrested and charged with rape and sodomy on January 6, 1972. On March 6, 1971, the Breed participated in a large-scale brawl with the Hells Angels at a motorcycle trade show in Cleveland, involving over 100 bikers from each side. 4 members of the Breed, Bruce Emmerich, Andrew Demeter, Emilio Gardul, and Thomas A. Terry, and 1 Hells Angel, Jeffrey Groover Coffey, were stabbed to death, and 23 people were injured, including 3 police officers. Dozens of vans and cars full of police officers were called in to break up the fight. Although most of the bikers were able to flee, 84 were arrested at the scene. On March 9, 1971, 47 Breed members and 10 Hells Angels were each charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. After being chased for over a mile by 12 Breed members on motorcycles, Michael Trunk, a pagan and former Breed member, was shot in the head and killed by Breed member Ralph Marlboro Waldman in Abington Township in Montgomery County on July 22, 1973. Trunk's colors were also stolen. After Waldman and other Breed members were arrested, a brawl involving Breed and pagans took place at Abington Police Station. Waldman was convicted of first-degree murder, aggravated assault, robbery, theft of a movable property, criminal conspiracy, terroristic threats, and 2 counts of simple assault on October 30, 1975, and was sentenced to life in prison. 2 Breed members, George Schell and Joseph Zabrowski, and 3 pagans involved in the brawl were cleared of aggravated assault in September 1973 after they refused to press charges against each other. Mark Allen, Pocket's chancellor, a prospective member of the Breed, was shot dead during a club meeting attended by 7 other members at the farmhouse of Masbury, Ohio, chapter president John Gilkey in Mercer County on October 13, 1973. Chancellor was allegedly killed for unwittingly violating a club rule during his membership initiation. His body was found on October 26, 1973 in a shallow grave approximately 400 feet from the Gilkey home by officers of the Pennsylvania State Police acting on an anonymous tip-off. New York chapter member William M. Zilkett and New Jersey chapter Sergeant-at-Arms Gary Roman were convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, and Ohio chapter president Donald David Kraut Trefts was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Trefts escaped from SCI Huntington on July 22, 1993, and was apprehended by FBI agents and local police in Deadwood, South Dakota on April 6, 1995. Breed member Ernest C. Custer stabbed motorist Dennis Carson in the throat with a hunting knife and attempted to stab his passenger Albert Falls following a road rage incident on Route 1 in Bucks County on April 24, 1976. Custer claimed temporary insanity but was found guilty of attempted murder, simple assault, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and possession of a prohibited offensive weapon. In 1987 and 1989, Breed and Pagans members were involved in incidents of assault and kidnapping to settle disputes or to retaliate for acts of violence against fellow members. In one incident, a Breed member wearing his colors in the Philadelphia area, considered pagan territory, was assaulted and robbed of his colors by Pagans members. Arrangements were made to negotiate a settlement to this dispute. However, 2 Breed members were arrested and charged with weapons offenses during the prearranged meeting. Reportedly, the 2 were present and armed to protect the chapter president, who was handling negotiations. In December 1988, members of the Warlocks kidnapped the Breed's Bucks County chapter president Craig Coyote Goodnecht in retaliation for several Warlocks being assaulted by Breed members at a bar in Bensalem Township. Goodnecht was taken to the home of a Warlock where he was tied up, beaten, and pistol-whipped. Goodnecht escaped and subsequently reported the incident to police. On July 21, 2006, 15 members of the Breed were charged with running a large-scale methamphetamine ring after a year-long investigation by the Attorney General's Bureau of Narcotics Investigation, the Bucks County District Attorney's Office, and the Philadelphia Police Department, known as Operation Breed on a Wire. Among the indicted were Pennsylvania Chapter President John W. Jr. Napoli, New Jersey Mother Chapter President John A. Shameless Kovacs, and 13 other club members. Police also seized more than 22 pounds of methamphetamine, nearly $500,000 in cash and bank deposits, 44 firearms including 1 submachine gun, 10 improvised explosive devices, various vehicles, and 24 motorcycles during the series of raids. Further charges relating to racketeering were added to the indictments of Napoli, William A. Tattoo Billy Johnson, Christopher Slam Quattrocki, Thomas E. Fuzzy Heilman, Frederick F. Panhead Freehoff, and Eric Kicker Loebsack on July 26, 2007. A grand jury found that Napoli was the ringleader of the drug organization, which operated in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and distributed over 120 pounds of methamphetamine between May 2005 and June 2006, which had an estimated street value of more than $11.25 million. A total of 19 Breed members were convicted in the case, receiving sentences ranging from 3 to 36 years in prison. On October 4, 2007, Napoli and Johnson were convicted of drug trafficking, racketeering, and weapons charges, while Heilman was also convicted of conspiracy to traffic over 500 grams of methamphetamine. Napoli received the harshest sentence of all his co-conspirators when he was sentenced to 36 years imprisonment on April 17, 2008. Heilman was sentenced to 20 years on January 6, 2008, and Johnson was sentenced to 35 years on April 11, 2008. Operation Breed on a Wire and the resulting convictions effectively dismantled the club. Remaining members who avoided the indictment subsequently dispersed or joined other clubs. Several Breed members patched over to the Outlaws and established a chapter in Kensington, Pennsylvania.